Hi, I'm Joseph Hachem, 2005 World Series of Poker champion. Please take a journey with me as we travel down memory lane and revisit hands and strategies that took place at the final table this year.
And I'm Steve Dannenmann, 2005 World Series of Poker runner-up. And you're also going to hear my take of the final table at the World Series of Poker.
There can be only one. Only one player is guaranteed poker immortality. The names say it all. Moss, Brunson, Unger, Chan. Now 5 previously unknown players have the chance to add their name to that distinguished list.
What is your name?
Joe.
Gotta make it exciting for you guys.
Who will be the one? Will it be Aaron Kanter, the giant killer? Whoa! Will it be Tex Barch, the man from the Lone Star State hoping to be the last man standing? Will it be Joseph Hachem, the Aussie, looking to win it all for his family and country? Will it be Steve Dannenmann, the guy next door who could actually take home the biggest prize poker's ever seen?
Bring him on!
Or will it be Andrew Black, the one man who's been close before? He's the chip leader and clear favorite. Tonight, poker history will be made as one of these unknowns walks away with $7.5 million.
Oh, baby.
Yes. Who will be the one? Welcome to the grand finale of the 2005 main event of the World Series of Poker.
Every time I see that sign, it just brings back so much emotion in my body. You know, we spent 2 days there playing the final 2 days. I almost remember all the smells and everything. Every time I see the sign of winning, it's amazing.
Tournament officials are preparing the prize money in their trademark cardboard boxes. Tonight, one man will be crowned world champion and will walk away with all of that cash. Hello, everybody. He's Norman Chad. I'm Lon McCarran. And Norman, the marathon is over. It's now a sprint to the $7.5 million first prize. We began with 5,619 players, and we're down to our final 5. They're not household names, but by the end of the night, one will be.
Whether you know them or not, they've proven they can play. You just don't outlast the biggest field in poker history on luck alone. Although I could make the case for Steve Dannenmann, who admits to being only the 4th or 5th best player in his home game. Well, somebody's got to get lucky tonight. Why not Dannenmann?
I had 3 goals, and those goals were, when I started the World Series of Poker, was to get through the first day, to make it on TV somehow, and then try and get into the money. And when I finally reached the final table, I've already reached all 3 of those goals. The goals that I came into the table with that day were to don't be the first to bust out, and when you finally do bust out, make sure it's a good hand so you look good on TV.
Dannenmann is currently one of the 2 short stacks.
This is incredible here. There's 5 of us left. And I'd already been the short stack for a number of hours. And somehow I managed to stay out of trouble. And the chip leaders kept on battling each other, and the chip lead was exchanging the whole time. And I'm thinking, well, okay, I'm out of trouble. I'm going to try and keep a low profile. We're all getting really tired here. You could see I was tired, the boys were tired. We'd been playing, it's our 7th day. And I think by this stage we've been already playing for about 6 hours or something, maybe a little bit longer.
We know he's got an ace.
This is an interesting hand here with Andrew and Aaron. I spoke to Andrew about this hand later on, and he really was kicking himself about the hand because he felt that he gave away too many chips on the hand undeservedly. Aaron played it really well. Aaron, played it really well and holding on to the, not re-raising Andrew here when the flop comes down king high.
We'll call with the ace and unknown card.
Well, I don't think it's pocket aces.
5-3 king, a set of kings for Aaron Kanter. No matter what Black has, Aaron Kanter's got the lead. Now the 27-year-old Californian will bet $1 million.
$4 million.
And a raise from Black.
Wow.
I felt that Andrew Black was a very good player at the table, very aggressive player. Problem with Andy is, being so aggressive, he can't turn his aggressiveness off. If he had a light switch next to him, it would help him an awful lot.
just makes the call.
A lot of guys would have gotten too excited and decided to re-push, but Aaron played it really well.
Now the turn card, a 3 of hearts. Kanter with a full boat.
And now he will sit on him.
What's we got there?
Aaron Kanter, known here as the...
Andrew is a highly intelligent player. He's very sophisticated in his thoughts. The thing that he probably finds most difficult is changing gears. I think I played with him a few times, and when he plays fast, he plays really fast, you know. And like now, when he asks how much chips he's got, I think Andrew's realised that, you know, what have I got myself into here? I've already dumped $6 million into this pot.
Just $2 million more to take down a pot of $15 million. He might be thinking of a call.
Call.
And Black indeed does call.
And now it's when he calls his $2 million on the river, it's a crying call, hoping that Aaron was just bluffing with ace high like he was, you know. And we never got to know what his second card was. So looking at that, he may have hit the 8 on the river to make king, you know, 3s and 8s.
Kanter near 20 million chips. Andrew Black loses almost 8 million there.
Back to basics, Andy. Isn't it? Hey?
Back to the grind, eh?
Yeah, back to you got to get slum it with us now.
And it's funny that Joe says to Andrew, back to basics. For the average player, back to basics would be to tighten up. But back to basics for Andrew is actually, okay, back to your aggressive self. You've just lost a lot of chips, and he feels that he's got to get a lot of chips back.
I'd hardly moved any chips other than betting a small amount at a time. And Aaron's raised on the button here. Steve decides to call, which I now think, well, he probably hasn't got very much. I look down and I pick up ace-jack. I'm all in.
Wow. Short stack making a stand.
You haven't heard me say that too often, have you, boys?
No, we haven't.
It makes me laugh when I hear myself say that.
To this final table.
They're not calling, don't worry.
Kanter folds.
He thinks everyone's folding their tent. He doesn't know about Steve Dannenmann's tent.
Yeah, it's been fun.
And look at Steve, he's just having such a good time.
God, this would be a horrible call. This would absolutely be horrible. I have played all good cards all week long.
You know, he knows his hand isn't worth a piece of cheese at the moment, and he knows he shouldn't call, but I think part of him was trying to call, to make the call. So he pulls out this list from his pocket.
Oh, notes for the tournament.
Oh, for a tournament.
Number 1, have fun. Number 2,
Yeah.
you have nothing to lose.
There's like, I don't know, 400, 500, 600 people in the room at this stage. And they're all in hysterics, you know.
Play tight. But we'll flip it over to the bottom. And the last one says, not calling a raise is only a small mistake. It's only a small mistake.
Compared to what?
So,
Dannenmann folds.
When I finally see his hand, and he's folded ace-10 to my ace-jack, I'm feeling sick, because I want him to play with that hand, you know.
it's only a small mistake.
Here we go again.
There's the crew. At every chance they got where they could encourage me, they just belt out the Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
What a loyal bunch of supporters, though, cheering even when their man forces his opponent to fold. Five players left on our degree chip count. Aaron Kanter, the leader, with 18 million. Andrew Black, just one of the guys now with 12 million. Hachem still the short stack.
I had a strategy for the entire tournament is to play very tight until we got down to Binions. And I figured, you know, I can't outplay these guys. These guys have played a lot more hands than what I have in my lifetime. I mean, they've played a lot more in 1 year than I've played in my entire lifetime. So my idea is to put maximum pressure on these guys at the final table. And whatever happens, wherever the cards fall, so be it. If it was meant to be, it was meant to be.
He says no thanks. Andrew Black. We're going to have to send him to our pocket cam seminars.
This is a very interesting hand because this was the beginning of Andrew's downfall. He's got, I think he's got 10-9 here, his hand. And I like the bet, the lead-out bet with top pair. Okay, he gets to find out where he is. And Steve, being Steve, wants to put the pressure on, so he decides to move all in here.
All in.
And it's a heck of a lot of money that he's moved all in for. And I've spoken to Andrew about this in the past, and he was happy with his decision. And I think it was a great read on his part, knowing that he was in front. I personally wouldn't have liked committing that many chips with top pair, no kicker. I could easily, be drawing dead. If I'm in front, maybe I'm in front by only a smidgen.
Call.
And Black's going to make the call. And Steve Dannenmann will be all in.
I can't outplay these guys, but what I can do is put pressure on these guys. And that's exactly what I do, is I go all in. I have middle pair with best kicker, and when he calls, I'm quite surprised.
Steve Dannenmann may be on his way out.
Jerry Ditzel, what you doing with my money?
Are you worried?
Actually, he does look a little stressed.
It's been fun, man. Good luck.
Here we go.
And I put a little smirk there. I'm like, okay, this is probably it. He's got me beat. And he did. He made a great call. He read me perfectly, and I'm actually laughing at Andy because he looks so concerned that he's going to lose this pot.
To stay alive.
And the river's an ace!
And when the ace finally comes out on the river, I'm just simply amazed and shocked. Everyone else is on the sidelines celebrating for me. I'm celebrating inside and amazed, but I didn't want to rub it in the guy's face. He just took a bad beat. He thought he had this, he thought he had the pot locked up and me away from the table at that point. And I'm just concentrating and being quiet and pulling the chips in at this point.
I tell you, Steve is so relaxed that after we finished playing, after 14 hours, and I went back to Rio's to collect my winnings and that, I found him playing on a $25 craps table. Just chilling out with his friends, just having a couple of margaritas. This is 7:30 in the morning or something, He was just having fun.
I came here with not a whole lot of expectations, and before you know it, I'm in Binions.
So we're guaranteed $1 million and up to 7.5.
Mom, I'm a half a millionaire.
I only get half of it because I have my investor, Jerry. And I never even expected us to get in the money. Not enough to make it past the first day.
Honey, we can get a new refrigerator now.
I consulted with Jerry in the beginning.
We had jacks.
I said, hey, what do you want to do here? He says, I don't care. Whatever strategy you figure out that you want to play, just go ahead and do it. Let's just have fun with it. Everybody else is really so pressured in making the money and winning the thing that I feel if I take the opposite approach, that I have an edge on the rest of the players. Jerry's a laid-back guy like myself. It was kind of amazing that he actually said yes. While we're at the tournament, we're in the second or third day, and I'm calling Jerry up and say, Jerry, hey, I'm doing pretty good, just made it through the second day. And he's like, Steve, yeah, it's real late in the morning. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Good night. So it wasn't until about the fourth day that Jerry started getting excited.
And there is one happy investor. Ditzel put up half of Dannenmann's $10,000 buy-in. Dannenmann, always happy, says he still clips coupons. That's going to end.
This hand made me sick in the stomach. The way it happened, the way it worked. I've limped in here with Jack 9. And I've only got the blinds to beat. He never knew what Aaron was going to do next. He was just a loose cannon. He's very aggressive. So I flopped an open-ended straight now, double belly buster. An 8 or a queen, and I'll make my straight. So I decide, I'm only up against the blinds. I've probably got nothing much. I'll bet and try and take the pot down now. Now I'll walk into a raise and a re-raise, which makes my hand futile. I've got to throw it away because I don't have anywhere near the odds to call for my draw.
Re-raise.
What have I walked into here, boys? I'm feeling sick here. I'm saying, you know, what have I walked into here? You know? I actually feel sicker once the turn card comes. But the development here is interesting because Tex has flopped top and bottom pair. And he feels pretty confident. Tex hasn't really moved his chips at all for the whole tournament. So now he puts in the third raise to Aaron.
Come on.
Kanter is going to push now. Wow.
Oh, jeez. I don't know how Aaron can think his kings are good here. Tex Barch has not been splashing around a lot of pots, and Tex has just raised twice here on the flop.
The whole time he was thinking, the plan was to fold his hand because he knows his hand is no good. There must have been tiredness or whatever has set in, and he decides to move all in on him, and practically drawing dead. You know, he hasn't got many outs here.
Come on, baby!
Tex Barch might be married to the new chip leader.
Afraid maybe a king 10.
So he knew straight away when he moved in that it was a sick move.
Well, maybe Aaron was thinking, I'm going to get lucky on you like I have other people.
And now the queen comes, so if I'm in the hand, I make the straight and I collect a nice pot. Mind you, I'm not complaining. I'm happy with the overall result, so I'm not complaining.
Cannot lose the pot. Kanter can still chop the pot if there's a queen or 10 on the river.
River card is a jack. Tex Barch.
Yeah, that was a great pot for Tex. It was good. He played it well, and he got rewarded, you know. And Aaron made a mistake. Simple as that. I mean, in poker, it's the person who makes the least mistakes.
The giant killer missed his mark that time. No river miracle for Aaron Kanter. There it is, the Gallery of Champions, where main event winners are immortalized. And after tonight, one of our 5 remaining
When I went back to Vinny's for the first time and saw my photo on the wall, was one of the highlights of my life. There I am again, short stacked still. Because what had happened, I'd win a pot, then I'd spend the next 2 hours dwindling it away because I didn't have much to work with. This is another all-in moment for Joe Hachem, where it was a matter of do or die. I think I pick up a pair of 7s here. Steve puts in a normal raise, and I decide I'm going to go with this hand. So I call, I move all in.
The rest of the table folds. And now a decision for Steve Dannenmann.
Call.
I have to move all in to get some chips. I don't really have much left to survive, and a pair of 7s is 5-handers, a strong hand. Steve turns over ace-jack, and so the situation we're in is we're in like a 50-50 race. I'm slight favourite, 55 to 45, but you need to win these races in a tournament. Like you need to be able to hold up in the situation to survive. And my team there are all living on edge.
Hachem now to the flop. Pretty much a coin flip.
Exactly right. It's a coin flip.
6, Hachem 7s are stronger now.
Produce an 8.
An 8 would give Hachem a straight.
And I actually literally ask out loud to win the race because I know that this is a critical point.
Still knock him out with an ace, jack, or 10.
It's a 3, and Joseph.
And I thank the heavens and the poker gods, and the boys get a bit crazy here. That's Dujan. He's a good friend of mine. He kind of led the team that night.
He's left in Australia.
Man, winning a race in this game is like a miracle. Yeah, exactly. You need to be able to win races to win poker tournaments for sure. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Oi, oi, oi.
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie! Oi, oi, oi!
It's become a chant in any sporting event where Australians are playing.
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie! Oi, oi, oi!
We love our sport.
G'day.
Wherever we are, at any sporting event, absolutely passionate. All of Australia's going crazy. Everybody just banded together, and they've just been with me the whole way.
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie! Oi, oi, oi!
All I've done is play each day as it comes. And then if I win this, there won't be anybody that won't know about the World Series of Poker in Australia. And I'll throw the biggest party Melbourne has ever seen.
Hachem hasn't had many chips at this final table, but he's laid low quite well.
We found well.
Something, man. Just something. Just something.
Hachem over
I think that comment I'm saying there about just something is, I got some life. I got some chips back, like just to survive.
600,000 chips.
And this is the fatal blow for Andy. I mean, the hands basically play themselves here. Pair of tens against ace king.
Fall through the cracks.
Free raise.
Free raise from Dannenmann.
Good. $2 million.
2 stacks, $1 million each.
All in.
And Andrew Black is going to push.
Excuse me.
All in.
Call.
When he goes all in, I figure, I'm a coin flip at this point. I have him covered. And I want to see all 5 cards. And again, Andy has that worried look on his face. I've just lost a coin flip, so maybe I'll win this one this time.
It was not too long ago that Andrew Black was our chip leader with 20 million chips, now in danger of losing all he has left. Here's our flop. 2, 3, 8. That flop misses. Dannenmann. Black still leads.
Black survives it and still seems to be pained by this process.
I had a good feeling about this hand here, and when the turn comes and I hit the king, I'm just celebrating inside. I'm feeling Andy's pain right here.
Steve knows that now he got lucky again, You can see the look on Steve's face. And Andy's just devastated here, as I would have been myself, In any tournament, finishing anything but first is disappointing. In the main event, anything but first is just, it's death. It's terrible.
Dannenmann earns the degree check mark.
Black finished 14th.
And Andrew played a great tournament. I played with Andrew for about 3 days. Played aggressively, put people under pressure, made great reads. I don't think it was deserving that he go out like that, but that's poker.
Black will take home $1.75 million. A true gentleman and a great poker player.
Look at the guys with shotguns. The most 2 serious-looking dudes I've ever seen in my life.
Shotguns? What are they, bringing in the body of Jimmy Hoffa?
4 players remaining, and it is a horse race.
Hey, for once I'm not the short stack.
A lot of work to do.
We've got the haves and the have-nots.
Joseph Hachem, a have-not. 8-7.
Now, this hand 7-8 when I come in for a raise.
$500,000 chips to Tex Barch.
Could have been a very dangerous hand for me.
Call. Barch, our chip leader.
See, Tex just calls out of the blind.
Now Aaron Kanter.
And Kanter decides to move all in.
And he will move all in with over 4 million chips.
If Tex raises here, Kanter probably just calls or folds, and it's me and Tex. If Aaron doesn't raise, then he basically I double him up because I've got a 7 as well.
Why shouldn't Aaron be calm?
He has no pulse, that's why he's calm. Yeah, even if
Tex makes a great call here again. He reads him perfectly, puts his chips in, and he's an 80% favourite to win the hand. And Aaron finds a way to outdraw him, And I'm kind of fortunate because I had the other 7, so I would have been caught in this hand as well.
Kanter, a 4-1 underdog, is tournament life online.
You can't blame Aaron's play. He was making a play at this point, because he was short stacked and he felt my raise I could have had any 2 cards. He would have probably been a bit fooled with Tex's call.
It's 7-7, Tad, trip 7s for Kanter.
I told you before, if he doesn't get you on the flop, he gets you on the river. If he doesn't get you on the river, he gets you on the flop. Tex told us he's lucky in love, unlucky in cards.
It's a good flop.
Which means Tex has a great wife and not so great flops and rivers.
Here's the turn. Oh, Kanter now with a full house after the ace hits.
And that means that Aaron Kanter will survive his all-in. Barch can now split the pot on the river if the case ace comes out. But either way, Aaron Kanter has survived.
Wow, Aaron Kanter now with the river card. It's a 6, the 4-1 underdog.
Like I said earlier, you know, you can do everything right in poker and still not work out for you.
And doubled up.
He's even feeling a little guilty about it.
The ebbs and flows of this main event, particularly for Aaron Kanter, have been incredible.
At this point, I just got to root for him.
Steve Dannenmann, our chip leader at this table. His backer, Jerry Ditzel's left the building, maybe to catch a few Z's. He's been good luck for Steve, so Dannenmann's not going to play.
This is my next interesting hand here for me. Aaron had put a lot of pressure on me throughout the whole tournament. I didn't really have much to fight back with. So I'm on the button here, and I decided to limp in with Queen 7. I decided before the hand was dealt that whatever cards I'm dealt, I'm going to limp in with. If he makes a move, I'm going to move all in on him and put the pressure back on him.
This is Joe's turning point in his tournament with his Queen 7. I was very surprised at this hand that Joe had pushed all in with this hand. Joe still had enough chips. He was getting blinded out, but he still had enough chips to wait on more hands throughout the tournament.
When he calls and I see pocket nines, I feel sick because I think it's not a good call, in my opinion. You know, like, I played it like I had something. Unless he had a great read on me, then good luck to him. And I got lucky. I spiked the queen. The queen came from heaven.
It's a queen, Hachem pairs.
If Joe had a chance to replay this hand, not knowing what the flop was going to be, he would have probably folded. Because he's a much better player than what happened in this hand. Winning this pot actually gives Joe a lot of chips now at this point to start making moves and actually playing poker instead of just all in.
Ace Hachem still good.
Yeah, but when Kanter hits the 9 on the river, Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi will be over and done with, and Hachem will be headed home.
Chad puts a curse on me, you know, saying that Kanter's going to catch a 9 like because Aaron had caught so many rivers over the last 8 days. He's just lucky that I wasn't in the room with him when he called for the 9. Would have probably strangled him.
The late pop singer Warren Zevon sang about lawyers, guns, and money. Well, we lost attorneys Greg Raymer and Tiffany Williamson, but we got plenty of guns and certainly plenty of money.
I'm surprised the escalator is working.
As our 4 remaining players continue to joust, we'd like to pay tribute to the 5,615 players who went home before them in this edition of The Nuts. Tell me.
Poker in general has so many different characters and personalities come out. Sometimes they shine, sometimes they don't shine. There are so many memorable people. I mean, from 5,619 people for 7 days, so many different things happen. You know, it's hard to just pick, you know. The English guy, the one that was standing on chairs, and this guy here, standing on chairs and screaming, and then he got kicked out because his body odor was a bit over the top. And that Joe Stillman, the big American dude who came to Vegas to bowl, he was loud, man. You could hear him like 2 blocks away.
All right, show me the money.
I don't want to look.
Wow. Ain't no justice in poker.
Goodbye. The most stressful week of my life.
That last comment that guy just made, the most stressful week of my life. We often, in big tournaments like that, people have a meltdown. They don't realise they had a meltdown until after they'd had it, you know, and they actually feel relieved after it's happened. So, when we got to 4-handed, we come back from break and I was feeling really tired, you know, and, you know, my neck was sore, my back was sore, and this little voice creeps into my head and says, "You know, Joe, if you bust out now, you should be happy, you should be really proud of your effort because you've done really well." And that voice hadn't even finished speaking, and this other voice comes in and says, "Listen here, dumbass, you have to win because no one remembers who comes second.
Aaron Kanter might appear to be a 3-1 underdog right now, but I've still got him as a 1-9 fave.
As Norm says, this is one of the times, you actually expect Aaron to come back and put another bad beat on someone at this point. And probably the first time during the tournament that someone put a bad beat on him. Or not necessarily a bad beat, but he wasn't able to catch up at this point.
So the ace of hearts no good for Aaron.
Now the turn is an 8, and Aaron Kanter closer to the rail.
Well, he's been pushed to that rail all week long, but he just won't go.
Tex Barch with a chance to knock off a player who has had a huge impact in this main event.
Does Kanter have one more?
Aaron had a good time. You could tell by his face. He's smiling. He just lost, but like I said, everyone who made the final table was a poker champion to me. We were all millionaires. We were playing for a little bit more money and a bracelet. I've never done anything quite so hard before. We played 7 straight days, 12 and 14-hour days. The only tougher thing that I've ever done in life was pass the CPA exam, which was a 2.5-day test.
Aaron takes away a wealth of experience, and something tells me we'll see him back here at the World Series.
This is simply amazing. Here comes the money. And you've got these guys with shotguns. And I'm looking at this, and there's just guy after guy with boxes of money coming in and piling it on the table. And in fact, it was so much money that the table started bending. And they had to bring in supports to support the table. Otherwise, it would have collapsed.
It was more of a shock than anything else to see all these boxes come out, Up until this point, you hadn't even thought about the money. But now they've stuck it right under your nose, and you have to think about it. It's there. It's real.
Dannenmann with $23.5 million. Joseph Hachem in second place with 20.3 million chips. And
Tex is a very tight player. He's a very good player. He specializes in cash games and a few tournaments. Here he has the ace-9, and ace-9 three-handed is a great hand. It's just that I picked up a better hand, ace-king. So I re-raise him at this point. And I'm thinking I want a little bit of action, but I don't have a made hand, but I have a very good starting hand. The strange thing here is that Tex re-raises me. Now, at this point, I'm thinking, the only two hands I'm concerned about is aces or kings. If he had aces or kings, he would have smooth called me and then played after the flop to extract more chips out of me. That's why at this point I figured he had a very small pocket pair that he didn't want to gamble with, and he wanted to take this pot down right now. He didn't want to see a flop or anything of that nature.
All in.
And that would put Barch all in.
Oh, this Dannenmann. One moment he's Ronald McDonald, the next moment he's Hannibal Lecter.
Dannenmann using his ultimate weapon, the all-in.
And I calculated correctly. He didn't have his aces or kings. And I'm giving a big tell here at this point because, I'm laughing. I feel very relaxed at this point.
But the gravity of this moment is not lost on Tex Barch.
Getting warm in here now?
Indeed, this is for all of Texas chips against a guy who says he's the 4th or 5th best player at his home game.
Tex Barch will fold to Dannenmann.
He made the right read.
All these things that Steve does come into relevance later on for me and him heads up, because I didn't want to play a big pot with Steve unless I had a made hand, because his favourite gear was all in, and that puts a lot of pressure on you if you don't have a hand to play with.
Continues in the main event.
Do you have a better hand? Doesn't matter.
If Dannenmann were to walk into Tex Barch's bar right now, I don't know if Tex would serve him.
Dannenmann might have a problem getting a drink anywhere in Texas at this point. We continue three-handed. One of these men will be our world champion. Steve Dannenmann.
I've just accumulated all these chips, and I'm not about to give them away, so I don't want to play a big pot again. You know, jacks is a good hand, but I'm not going to get too excited with a pair of jacks at this stage, so I just call Steve's raise from the small blind. And I think Tex here probably gets a bit frustrated and says, well, I haven't made a move all day. I'm going to make a move now. And it was just bad timing. You know, he moves all in. And now I start thinking, well, if Steve calls, I can move all in over the top and isolate Tex, or I can just call with Steve, and then, you know, we can play the hand in a way that the most likely is we eliminate Tex. Then Steve and I can play heads up for the championship. So I decided to call. I could have easily moved all in over the top of Steve right here, you know. But once I called, I decided that unless I hit my jack, or unless I was certain I was in front, I'm not going to bet Steve out of the pot. In case I beat him out of the pot, but his hand actually beats Tex's, and what's the use of that? You know?
Good luck, man. Good luck, gentlemen.
And what else is interesting here is if Tex wins the pot, then we're all even in chips. So there's no damage to any of us, you know, except Tex if he doesn't win the hand.
Flop is deuce 10-3. Barch gets nothing. Hachem's jacks still lead.
Tex is really concerned at this point when there are two other players playing against him. The flop he probably wasn't really concerned too much about, but he had to feel that one of us had a pocket pair. And he kind of knows that his days are done unless he catches that ace. He played very tight. Tex is a great player, and he definitely deserved to be at the final table. And he won about $2 million, $2.5 million, and still enough money to get his Ferrari that he was talking about earlier.
Well, Tex Barch had told us he'd always thought he'd be a millionaire by the time he was 30. He had to wait to age 34 to cash the big payday.
Joseph Hachem says goodbye to the man he knocked out, and we are now heads up. It's the everyman, Steve Dannenmann.
Oh, coin toss now, baby.
Against the Aussie, Joseph Hachem. They're playing for the bracelet, the world champion title, and $7.5 million. It is time to take the final few steps. Time to decide who will be the last man standing. From a field of
This is the first time that I feel that I have a chance at winning the entire tournament. It's kind of funny, right before Joe and I play heads up, I go up to Joe, I shake his hand, and I wish him luck. And I say, Joe, good luck. I hope you win. You'll respect the title more than I will. And we're going to get this over in about 5 hands, because I'm tired.
The other, the everyman, playing out a home game fantasy.
Bring him on!
I appreciate his thoughts, but I'm there to play poker. I don't want to finish it quickly. I'm only going to finish it quickly if it's in my favour. I'm not going to throw all these chips away that I've been working all week for.
It comes down to this, Steve Dannenmann versus Joseph Hachem.
Hachem said he gave himself a real chance to win this thing when we got down to about 200 players. I got a feeling Dannenmann gave himself a real chance to win when we just got heads up.
So here I've got Jack 6, and I've got an average to above average hand heads up. And I raise it up. And Joe has King 2 suited, and he correctly calls. We flop, and Joe flops the deuce, checks to me to see what I'm going to do, and I make a bet, and he calls. And at this point when Joe calls, I'm not really sure, obviously, what Joe, maybe Joe has that queen, and he's going to check raise me on the turn. So when the turn comes and I hit my 6, He checks to me like I think he's going to do, and I put in a nice size feeler bet.
This is where I feel that I could have played it better. When I've made 2 hearts on the turn, I could have check raised Steve here, and he wouldn't have been able to call. But again, I think in the back of my mind, been playing for 13 hours, 14 hours, and I don't want to shoot off 10 million in chips on a draw, on a bad play. You know, I'd rather wait for the hand.
Hachem checks.
And I actually pay him off on the river because I still think that I've got the best hand. I don't put him on having a pair at all. I think he's just making another stab at the pot.
He pushes in 2 million chips.
It's a lot of fun when you've got like 40 million in chips to play with too.
Hachem makes the call and sees he's lost to the 2 pair of Steve Dannenmann.
I played this hand very tentatively. I could have been more aggressive and taken the pot off Steve. In the end, I shot off some chips to him that I could have actually taken the pot down on the turn. When your head's up, any 2 cards play as long as the price is right. You know, as long as it's not too expensive for you to play.
Heads-up finale here in the main event.
Just amazing. Team Aussie is quiet, and the money for first place beckoning each of these players.
We're at the final hand. And I get a lot of flack from people who don't play poker as to how I can play a 7-3. But we have so many chips, and the risk-reward factor in playing that hand is so big in my favour. The reward is so great compared to the risk, because it's costing me only a few chips to see a flop. If I miss the flop or I don't like it, I just throw it away. And I've been waiting for this hand all night to play against Steve because, as I said earlier, Steve, I have to play a made hand with Steve if I'm going to play a big pot, because he's going to put the pressure on, he's going to move his chips in, and I want to know that I've got him, you know, and get him to commit to the chips, to the pot. So now I decide to check the flop when I flop the straight, and I check raising.
This is the card that kind of crippled me, is my ace.
Disaster card for Dannenmann.
At this point, I'm thinking I've got top pair with an open straight draw.
Hachem is in a great position.
Maybe Joe has a piece of that, and maybe Joe has 2 pair, but if the board pairs, I'll have the better 2 pair, and I have got, at this point, I've got the straight draw as well. So I'm going to see where I'm at this point in the hand.
You having fun?
My God, it's a ball. $2 million. That's a pretty large bet for a young man of your playing ability, huh?
I'm telling you, Lon, these guys should move in together, and ABC has its Odd Couple remake.
I raise $3 million more.
Dannenmann now announces a raise.
This is where I just quickly, I think, how am I going to get him to commit the rest of his chips? So you don't hear it on TV, but I actually asked him to do a chip count. And then, but we're being friendly. Really talk to him a little bit. All right, stop. I'm all in.
Joseph Hachem is going to try to put Dannenmann all in. Hachem with the straight.
I'm all in.
And Dannenmann bites. Joseph Hachem has a straight and a title in the waiting.
Oh, the bracelet all but around his wrist now.
I got a chance.
Now, not much of one. He can only tie this pot.
7 and 7 only.
Hachem trying to become the first foreign-born winner of the main event since Carlos Mortensen in 2001.
Hachem flopped the straight and then played Dannenmann perfectly here to the river. The suspense is paralyzing some of these Aussies.
Wait. There's one more card.
Good luck.
Not over yet.
Dannenmann needs a 7 or Joseph Hachem will be our world champion.
And now our river card. It's a 4, and there you have it. Joseph Hachem stands alone.
Instead of doing backflips, I'm just numb. You know, I've been... There's my boys jumping on top of each other there. That's so funny.
Thank you so much.
And this was just an automatic reaction for me to thank the crowd. They stuck with us for 14 hours, you know, and I could feel everybody's energy in the room, their full support.
7-3 offsuit. into $7.5 million. Pass the sugar.
Pass the sugar. That's becoming a phenomenon, actually. You know, wherever I go, people are coming up to me saying, pass the sugar. They're using it in their home games. I'm on a plane last night with someone who says, every time he wins a pot, he says, pass the sugar now.
Sir, you're a millionaire.
I think Joe's going to make a great ambassador of poker. In fact, at a tournament later on, Joe actually put the bracelet on my wrist, and I thought momentarily of just running out of the building with the bracelet, but I cheerfully gave it back.
The only happy place is being first. You know, I see friends of mine, poker pros all the time, and myself, who get so close so often, but we're never happy unless we win. That's what it's all about. It's about winning. $1 million changes my life, let alone 7.5. Everything's going to change.
His wife gave him permission to play in a poker tournament halfway around the world while she took care of their 4 children. Well, wake up the kids and wake up Australia. Your boy's coming home a multi-millionaire.
Apparently Australia has gone mad. And you know we're all sports freaks already, right? So if someone comes to America and wins the World Championship of Poker, they're going to go mental.
Joseph Hachem is the 2005 main event champion. For Norman Chad, I'm Lon McCarran. So long from the World Series of Poker.